Republican Seniors of Minnesota, a group of seasoned seniors that learn and discuss issues important to all Minnesotans, featuring guest speakers with traditional conservative values, plus Republican candidates at all levels, pledging strength and optimism. We believe in and advocate for the principles of personal responsibility, economic prosperity, peace through strong national defense, and limited, sensible government. Republican Seniors of Minnesota. It's not the years in your life, but the life in your years.
Good morning. Welcome. Thanks for coming this morning, and a very special welcome to those at watch parties watching our meeting this morning. I'm Terry Flower, chair of the Republican Seniors of Minnesota, and it's my pleasure to welcome you here this morning. It is primary election day. So I hope I voted on the way in. So I hope you will vote. There's another I voted sign. Now I hope a lot of you have already voted by mail-in ballot or through your local poll. But those of you who haven't, you got lots of time, and we need to get out and to elect our candidates, and especially the endorsed candidates. I think you've met most of them right here, and especially Kendall Qualls and Adam Schwartzy and the others. So I think it's an opportunity for you to support those candidates. If anybody has a question about where to vote, I think our board of directors is in back, and they may be able to steer you to the SOS website where we can have that information about where. This meeting is live streamed today by our volunteers with livestreampros.net, and you can watch the video live. On our website, on YouTube or Rumble or even your large screen TV. If you have questions about how to do that, we have some people here who could help you after the meeting. So we understand there's more folks already interested in developing watch parties, and what that means is it's getting out the information that you have kind of determined we think is important for people to know. So that's really great. In fact, we understand even some Republicans up in Grand Marais are developing a watch party. So for all the people who are watching us live stream, please give them a big hello. All right. Yeah. See, Linda, I want to tell you we're in a transition mode. A lot of things have happened since the last meeting, and I will be explaining that in the next few minutes. We have people who can tell you about the new venue, and we'll talk about it. But to start off, folks, remember to tell your neighbors about the Republican Seniors, because they're not going to get here unless you hold their hand or something like that. It takes something to come on out by yourself. Sir? Yes, we're we're starting off with invocation. So would you join me in prayer? Almighty God, the Father of all persons, you've made the human race to be brothers and sisters in order to help each other in need. Convince us in our minds, our hearts, our social attitudes to accept the brotherhood that we are part of and to give ourselves to the common need of humankind. We want to thank you for your guidance as we've been exploring other venues for our meetings. We pray to ask you for all our needs, and we pray to praise your name. In Jesus' name, amen. Thank you. Would veterans, and we'd like to acknowledge them, veterans, military veterans, active and retired police officers, firefighters, other first responders. Will you folks please stand? All right. What a great bunch of people. And now would all the rest of you please stand, and we'll say the Pledge of Allegiance. I pledge allegiance to the flag of the United States of America and to the republic for which it stands, one nation, under God, indivisible, with liberty and justice for all. Thank you. Are there any visitors and guests? Is this somebody a first time? Their first time? Here we go. Sir, would you tell your name, where you're from?
I'm Robert Bouchard. I'm running for the state senate in St. Paul against the DFL's Senate leader, Aaron Murphy. I was invited here by my friend Al. We were at a fundraiser for Kendall Qualls the other day and raised $20,000 for him. And I was invited here by Al to say hello and learn what you're all about. Thank you.
Thank you, Robert. Folks, I think if you got here early, you heard the scuttlebutt going on. We are moving. This building has been sold, and so we've been forced to find a new location for the last month. Our board members have been just visiting all kinds of places, trying to find out information, gone from Fort Snelling to Inver Grove to Richfield to Burnsville, just all kinds of places. And some of the possibilities were beyond our budget, and we're going to be we did decide as a board, your board of directors, to relocate to the Masonic Heritage Center. Okay. Yeah, let's. Yeah, that'll be beginning the very next meeting. I'm sorry, my fault. I passed up the announcements that'll come on the screen here. I think.
Here are today's notable announcements for you, the Republican seniors of Minnesota. Here are today's notable announcements for you, the Republican seniors of Minnesota. The Republican Party of Minnesota's volunteer program offers the opportunity to gain campaign and political work experience while learning more about local, state, and federal government and politics. Volunteers will work with our staff, party unit leaders, elected officials, and political candidates. The current volunteer projects include State Fair booth preparation and staffing, annual Lincoln Reagan dinner, data entry and quality control, election integrity, voter engagement and outreach, party unit support and engagement, candidate outreach and support. To get started, visit mngop.com/volunteer. Stay informed and engaged on 2 issues that impact us all: education and fraud. Join your friends at SD50 in partnering with Katrin Wigfall, Education Policy Fellow at American Experiment, who will provide an update and perspective on the current declining education system and ongoing fraud investigations in Minnesota. This event takes place next Tuesday, August 18th at the Anderson Lakes Office Center, 9855 West 78th Street in Eden Prairie, starting at 6:30 p.m. Cost is $20 and includes light refreshments. American Majority is reaching out in Minnesota, with August shaping up to be one of the busiest months yet. The Minnesota team is traveling across the metro and surrounding communities with 12 trainings and special events. Visit AmericanMajority.org/training to get all the important details for communities near you. We're covering a lot of ground this month of August, and there are still plenty of Minnesota communities we would like to reach. Spread the word and come join us. This Thursday, August 13th, you're invited to join your Republican friends and families in SD35 for the annual family picnic being held at Peninsula Point, Two Rivers Park in Anoka. Food, fun, and fellowship for the whole family starts at 6 p.m. Bring your patriotism, your appetite, and your family. We're moving. Yes, change is on the way as we continue to grow. Look for an email coming out soon with more information on our new location, how to get there, and other details. If you have a brief announcement to make regarding topics related to the Republican seniors, please do so near the end of our meeting today when we provide the renowned 2 cents for 2 minutes, where you get the mic to pitch your message. And now, back to the meeting. And your family. We're moving. Yes, change is on the way as we continue to grow. Look for an email coming out soon with more information on our new location, how to get there, and other details. If you have a brief announcement to make regarding topics related to the Republican seniors, please do so near the end of our meeting today when we provide the renowned 2 cents for 2 minutes, where you get the mic to pitch your message. And now, back to the meeting.
Okay, thank you. Sorry for the mix-up on the slides. I think they're working on it. Where I was getting at the fact that we are moving to a new venue. Your board has been out visiting all kinds of places, and we'd like to have Carol come up, and I'm not sure if Tom's coming too. Yeah. These are two of your board members who did an awful lot. Well, all of them did an awful lot in trying to find the best location that'll best serve this. And there are some great new advantages and some probably disadvantages as well.
Thanks, Terry. Your entire board worked tirelessly during the month of July because we had like 1 week notice before our July meeting that this building has been sold. And so the entire board worked very vigorously. We visited and called, I believe it was 25 different locations. We found that we tried churches, we tried VFWs, we tried city-run places, we tried parks, hotels, and we are delighted that the Masonic Heritage Center has agreed to be our host. The Evergreen Hall in that Masonic Heritage Center building is beautiful. It's just downstairs, down one flight of stairs, there's a huge elevator. I think you can fit 30 people in the elevator that goes down to the lower level. This is a picture of what the building looks like. We're passing around maps that show how to get there most easily. It is straight down Normandale Drive, which is the intersection of 494. 100 goes north, Normandale goes south. Straight down, it's about 10 minutes from that one intersection, all the way down just before Auto Club Road. So you go past a number of places, including Old Shakopee Road, so it's about 1 mile south of Old Shakopee Road and Normandale. We're keeping our meeting date the same. That was another problem we hit, was there were people willing to host us, but they didn't have Tuesday mornings open for us. So we're keeping the meeting date the same. We're keeping the meeting fee the same for the rest of the year, because that's what we promised our membership. As part of your membership, you would have the meeting fee for the entire year. Tom, what else should we be telling them?
I was just going to mention it was pretty impressive, all hands on deck effort over the last month. It was not only the board members that were running all over the place, but also our 2 former presidents, Carol and Mike, and even our technology guy, Brad, who's out in the van outside to make sure that we found a place that was suitable for the live streaming. Scott Graham was kind of herding all of us cats together. He's in charge of the venue process, and everything turned out really well. He did a good job. And I'd like to mention Scott is such a hardcore worker. He's the election judge in Minneapolis right now. I think he said it was around 34th in Portland, which isn't too far from George Floyd Square. So that's the kind of people we have, and we're really lucky to have them. Thank you.
And one final credit note. We found out that the Masonic Heritage Center event area even existed because Sharon Edme, one of our current members, and I were just chatting over an event at Center of American Experiment, and she said, "You really should look there. It's a beautiful place." And she was right. I think you'll be delighted. I hope that you'll see us there September 8th. Thank you.
Thank you, Carol, and thank you, Tom. Well, again, one of the things that I did want to mention to you is there the cost of the new venue is more than it is here, and I guess, friends, we got to bite the bullet on the costs, and we obviously can't keep going into the red. One thing that your board of directors has not finalized how we'll pay for it, but we think it's important that the transition between this location and the new location be smooth as it can be for us all. And so we are keeping the costs, as Carol mentioned, we're keeping the costs the same through until the January meeting. And of course, by then we'll have an opportunity to really nail down some things. We're still considering, what do we do with the attendance fee, and what do we do with our membership, and how can we make it work? And we are going to make it work. That's for sure. Okay, our one thing again, I guess I cannot emphasize how important it is to get out and vote, and even take a neighbor and go vote too. That really is what we need to do, because it's only something. You remember we had Karen Miller here, and she told us it was something like 25% of the people get out and vote. When I was driving in this morning, they were talking about that. Even here in Minnesota, a really good turnout is like 25% of the people who can vote, and I don't know if it's, I've used the term that some voters are fickle. They just really have to be pushed, and like you can lead a horse to water, but you can't make them drink, and you've got to push people to vote, because it's so important our future, for our kids' future, our grandkids, for everybody coming up. So I think that's really important. I think we've got the best slate of endorsed candidates that we've had in a long time. So hopefully we'll see what the election today turns out in the primary. Before we get to our featured speaker, we're going to take a 3-minute break. Let you go ahead and stretch, walk around, visit the little room there. Anything you need to do. There will be a timer. And right after the break, I tell you what, I said we're looking at finances to ease our transition to the new location and stabilize our finances. One of our members made a very significant donation and asked to be unknown to everybody. But I want to just tell you that people are stepping forward to let's make this work because this is important to us. Linda has a basket that she's just kind of been walking around, and I know some of you have thrown some money in. Maybe we can let her walk through. If you see her, you know what it's all about. So we'll go ahead and take our 3-minute stretch before our main speaker. Thank you.
You're watching Republican Seniors of Minnesota. Republican Seniors of Minnesota. We'll be right back.
coffee, Terry? I'll get
No.
You need any water? I'll get you water.
No, I'm fine.
Okay. Anyway, I don't know where we are on the timer. We must be close. But anyway. We got a pretty laid back crowd here today, so we don't need to worry about anything. I don't think.
Good morning, folks. I guess we're live again. 3 minutes is up, and we've got a couple other things that we did want to do. We have two local candidates who came out this morning. One of them is Van Holston from Senate District 55. He's running for the Senate in Burnsville, Savage area. Van?
Good afternoon. Good morning. Good morning. As Terry said, my name is Van Holston, running for State Senate in 55, which encompasses most of Burnsville and all of Savage and a little bit of surrounding area. I am a retired attorney. I sometimes tell people that I'm a recovering attorney. As you see, I'm a fellow with got some white hair like many of you, and you might be asking yourself, why on earth is this guy doing this? And I'm doing it because I'm really concerned about where the state is going and where we are for our children and grandchildren. The Waltz administration and the Democratic-controlled legislature has done a lot of damage, in my opinion. They inherited a surplus and then spent the money and raised taxes. They raised gasoline tax, the citywide sales tax, and tabs on your cars, and they've grown government, nearly doubled in the last 10 years. This is not sustainable. And we're looking at a situation where Minnesota has declined. One of the things I'm sure a lot of you people know, because you talk to other seniors and your neighbors, is that people are voting with their feet and leaving. The population in Minnesota is not growing. It's growing a little bit, but not very much. In fact, we're probably going to lose a congressional seat next time they reapportion it. And that's an indication of decline. The Wall Street Journal put out a report not too long ago that Minnesota is near the bottom in economic growth. We're near the bottom in new business startups. And then there's the awfulness that's going on in our schools. There's decline in our schools, too. In my own area in Burnsville, the Burnsville School District, 40% of the kids, when they're tested in fourth grade, 40% of them cannot do math and cannot read at their grade level. And this stuff has got to be reversed, and we need new people to do it. And so that's why I'm running. If you're interested in finding out more or want to contribute, you can go to vanforsenate.com. That's vanforsenate.com. And I appreciate your support. Thank you. FOR, vanforsenate.com.
You got that, FOR?
Yep.
Okay, great. And part of that Senate district, Todd Buchwald is running for the House District 55B, and that's in the Burnsville area.
Good morning, all. This great turnout. Nice to meet with you today. My wife and I just signed up to be members. I just retired recently in February, and I'm looking to help take care of some of our family and also look to serve. And I decided that I would run to be the state representative for Burnsville. I think that we really need a change in the direction that we're looking. We need to really bring integrity back to the House. We need to make sure that we are taking care of the dollars that go to St. Paul. Those are our dollars and not the government's dollars. We also need to make sure there's accountability. When we really come together as a community, it's important that we really have pride in our country and our state. And right now, people are probably saying that I'm not from Minnesota because we're in the national press all the time, and this is not something that normally happens in Minnesota. And prosperity only is going to happen after we snuff out the fraud, make those responsible really come and before a judge and prosecute. And we're going to be able to have prosperity here in Minnesota again. We just need to look at our partners, such as Chamber of Commerce. They have a great plan for growth. And with really getting our businesses back on track, being friends with small, large, medium-sized companies, and look at how we can grow and get twice the growth, we're able to then increase the number of jobs. We're able to have a better salary in Minnesota that keeps up with inflation, and we have a better future for the next generation. I also want to let you know, as of Sunday, I'm a new grandparent for the first time. Thank you. My son in St. Paul has been a contractor and just starting out, growing his business, and got married to Kenzie in the last year and a half, and so we're really excited to have Simon, a baby boy, and that's really given back to the next generation is why I'm running, to make sure that we leave a better Minnesota. So thank you for supporting the Republican conservative cause.
Thank you, Todd. Thank you. I did want to go back over the list of endorsed candidates for Minnesota. The state party, your delegates endorse these particular candidates, and we started off with congressional seats in each of the 8 congressional districts. We had Brad Finstead. Here we go. There we have Brad Finstead in CD1, Eric Pratt, CD2, Quentin Whitrock in CD3, and Paul Wickstrom, CD4, and Dahlia was here running for CD5. So these are either they're already in Congress or they're working hard to represent you in Congress. And then our statewide candidates. State is for Governor Kendall Qualls. Running for the U.S. Senate is Adam Schwartzy. How many times was Adam here? And Ron Schutz for Attorney General, unless you'd rather have Ellis in there. I don't think I would either. And Tad Jude, and Nate George running for the state auditor. And it's about time that we had an audit, someone who really is a CPA and auditor in that position. So we've got a good slate of candidates, and it didn't take me very long to vote this morning. Pages stick together. Yeah. Okay. It's my pleasure. How about that? He's been here more than anybody. We're happy to have him.
I'll be very brief. I was raised here, so I'm like shedding a tear seeing all the friends and family. I've been here more than anybody because this is my hometown. I'm not bought and paid for by DC. I'm from Bloomington, Minnesota. And I'm your endorsed Republican candidate for the United States Senate. And if you show up today, I'll be your nominated Republican candidate for the United States Senate. I got to say, team, this is the most contrasting primary in the history of the Republican Party on both sides of the aisle. Truly. If you look at Angie Craig and Michelle Tafoya, put their names in a hat and pull them out, you wouldn't know which one's the Republican. Angie Craig from Arkansas, a conservative state, has voted more times with President Trump, Angie Craig, than most of the Republicans. Michelle Tafoya, a never-Trumper. This today, it's about D.C. versus we the people. And on my primary, you have a constitutional conservative, somebody who's born here, fought for you my whole life, who supports our great president's policies, not a never-Trumper, who supports America first, not amnesty for illegals. Your rights as an American citizen matter. Your voting matters. That is a sacred honor of being an American citizen. And as somebody who's fought for democracy all over the world, I know what it means to have strong borders for a sovereign nation. Not amnesty for people who broke the law, who came in here illegally. And also, you know this again, but I got to say it. I'm a product of life. It's one of the foundational platforms of being a Republican, the sanctity of life. So you better believe for somebody who's adopted, I'm going to be a champion for expanding life in the U.S. Senate, expanding adoption, supporting mothers, supporting expectant families. Our birth rate is actually a national security issue. We need to promote having young American children. So let's support expectant mothers and families. And also, a Marine and a Navy SEAL, yes, I love guns. But I'm a constitutional two-way guy. That's why I've been endorsed by the Minnesota Republican Party, the NRA. I was actually the only Minnesota Republican candidate who even turned in the NRA form. That's how weak Republicans are in supporting our constitutional rights. And I'm proud to say that I've also been endorsed by the largest pro-life group in Minnesota, MCCL, because I support life. But I'm not here to talk about those endorsements. I need your endorsement today. Today is the first step. Today we fight DC. Tomorrow I fight the socialists. So please, after today, I hope you have a great day. Make a social post. Walk over, talk to your neighbors. Call your family. I guarantee everybody in this room knows more about Republican Party, America values, what's online this election than anybody else in your family or your neighborhood. But if you don't make your voice heard, we don't win. But we will win because we are on the side of God, because we fight faith first for America first. Thank you so much, my Republican senior friends. Thank you for your endorsement at the state convention. Thank you for endorsing a candidate based on faith and values. Let's take our state back together. God bless you. Have a wonderful day. Thank you so much, Larry. God bless you, sir.
You got my vote already this morning.
Appreciate it, sir. God bless you.
Yes, thank you. That's great that he came. There's all kinds of issues. How about the number one issue? Is it abortion? Is it taxes? Is it immigration? Okay, that's what we're fortunate to have to be able to discuss today, this morning. Susan Tully is the National Field Director for the Federation of American Immigration Reform. On your table, you should have a brochure and a card to help introduce her. Do we want open borders? No. Heck no. So we sure would like to hear Susan Tully tell us about the challenge to set up a good immigration policy. We know we need some immigration, but we need it to be proper so it serves the people of the United States.
I'm going to come back here because I need this podium. What a difference an election makes, huh? Get out there today, it's important. So I want to tell you first about who FAIR is. We've been around for over 50 years now. We are headquartered in Washington, D.C. I have been with FAIR for almost 24 years. So I have been through how many presidents now? And lots of different immigration situations. So FAIR is a 501c3. We are a nonprofit. We are nonpartisan. And our focus is one thing only, and that's immigration policy. Immigration policy. And our mission statement says, excuse me, we believe that America's immigration policy should first and foremost benefit America. So anytime something happens in Washington, D.C. or states, we look at, is what they're doing good for America? Is that good policy or is that bad policy? So that's where we come from. That's our single focus. That's all we do. We are America's #1 immigration reform organization, and we picked up that name long before it meant, create amnesty for everybody in the world. So immigration reform was, we believed 50 years ago that we were too generous in our immigration policy. And here's an example. Prior to Ted Kennedy changing immigration to family chain migration only, meaning the only qualification you needed to come to the United States was to have a family member here. Before that, it used to be based on what you had to offer the United States, what you were going to come and do. People had to post bonds. They had to actually perform. They had to do what they said they were going to do, even maybe create jobs for other Americans by coming. That all changed in the mid-'60s. And as a result of that, immigration has done nothing but skyrocket since then. So that's how FAIR got involved in this to begin with. They said, no. How is that good? Just because you have a family member, how is that good for America? It should still be based on what you have to offer, whether you're going to assimilate, what you're going to add to what is already in America now, and #1, buy into who we are, right? So, as a result of what happened in 1960, the United States became the largest immigration magnet in the world. We still, to this day, under Trump, process more legal immigrants each and every year, about 1.3 million, which is more than the whole rest of the world combined. We have taken, up until Trump 47, 2/3 of the world's refugee population out of refugee camps. 2/3. Of course, you all know how that played out for you. So as a result of this very generous immigration policy that was changed in the 1960s, the United States is now the 3rd most populous country in the world. And we are behind only China and India. India has now taken #1 because, as you know, China had to institute policies to slow their population growth. They didn't have enough resource to feed their people. Now, you just heard the gentleman who's running for Senate here say that natural population growth is a problem in the United States, and it is. Part of the reason that people keep saying, well, we need to take more immigrants. The United States is growing at a faster rate in population now than China. But it's our migration rate, not our birth rate, that's driving that. So be clear. Now, let's kind of fast forward and talk about illegal immigration, because you've seen the brakes be slammed on this country with Trump 47. Let's go back. Bush, under George Bush, George W. Okay, in 2000. The United States was still having major problems with the illegal immigration. And let's go back to what started and was the emphasis and started illegal immigration in the United States to begin with. Most of this started in California, and it was workers coming up from Mexico, and they were coming for seasonal work. There were programs that actually brought them up and then sent them back home. But they started coming on their own without going through the programs. And so through the Bracero program and others, I don't want to go into too much detail, but what happened was they kept coming. They were mostly coming as single men, and they would go back home and take their money with them. But there were so many of them here that we thought, the U.S. government estimated between 1 and 2 million in 1986, that they granted them amnesty. And what happened was, who legalized? Well, about 4 million people, double what they thought. And they granted them Social Security numbers and credits back, even though they couldn't prove they worked here. And it was a good deal for anybody who got amnesty under the 1986 Act. What happened? That set off, all I have to do is go, all I have to do is work, all I have to do is stay there long enough, they'll pass amnesty again. It set off the biggest wave of illegal immigration and started what we are still seeing today. Now, the estimates are that we have, and they're all over the place, between 18 to 35 million people here illegally. Nobody really knows what that number is, and you can't know what you don't know. They didn't come through the process, so we have no way of knowing. So that's a big difference in numbers. We do know, under our census counts, the last one that we had, that we have about a 17% population of foreign-born in the nation, which is one of the highest foreign-born populations of any country in the world. So this is all driven by immigration policy. Under Bush, and as a result of the 1986 continued to creep up policy, we got about 2 million illegal aliens under George Bush. Then Obama came in. We got about 2.5 million. Now, you have heard him called deporter-in-chief. He is not. He did not go around rounding up people and deporting anybody. He, in fact, encouraged people to come here. What he did was he started counting the people that were turned away at the ports of entry and other places when they showed up illegally, when they were turned around, which is policy. He counted those as deportations. So that's where that number came from. Biden, however, did something that we've never seen before, and something that I am terrified will happen again, the next Democratic president we get. He brought in, to the best count we have, 11 million people illegally in that 4 years. It was absolute and utter chaos. It is still chaos. You've seen the fallout and the result of some of that chaos here in Minnesota. Trump, however, at this particular time, in his second presidency, has stopped that border and secured it. It's about 99.9% shut. Are we still getting some people? Yes, we are. We have thousands of miles of border. We have every possible way you can imagine for people to come in here. And our friends to the north, Canada, are not helping us currently. The Mexican drug cartels, who have made at one point their largest income over the sales of drugs was the migrants that they were flooding in here during the Biden administration. The money that they were getting from those people. And they were charging the people who wanted to come through our southern border between $9,000 and $23,000 a person to get through. So it was at one point their largest driving income. They haven't stopped, my friends. They're now flying them to Canada. They're helping them process their or advising them to process as asylees and then enter the northern border, throw their Canadian papers away, and then grant asylum, try to get asylum up the U.S. or simply come in illegally. We are hosting a border school next week, which is what I've been madly working on, for sheriffs and state reps from around the country up in New York to show them and start putting light on the fact that the northern border, of which you have considerable area as well with Canada, is becoming a new issue for everyone, including drugs, human trafficking, and everything else that goes with it. What has happened in Canada now is we have the drug cartel, the Chinese, what they call the Indian Mafia, and others coming together to access the United States northern border. So we haven't even begun to see or fully understand what we're up against here, but we're trying to shed light on it. So far under Trump, you will hear, and I think there was an article in it yesterday in Fox News, that about 4.5 million people have been deported under the Trump administration, but 2 million of those 4.5 actually self-deported. So they gave them incentives to get them to go home. That's still a far cry, isn't it, from the 18 to 35 million who are here, or even the 11 million that Biden let in all by himself. So let's talk about Minnesota. One of the things that I really wanted to do is give you all a chance to ask questions, because you have been in the news, whether you like it or not. And a lot of people have looked at what's going on up here for a variety of reasons. One of them, of course, has been your refugee resettlement issue that has gone on for years. And let me tell you, I was involved with, I think it was Coleman was governor after 9/11. Yeah. Not right away, but maybe shortly thereafter. Ron Coleman? Norm Coleman, sorry. One of the things that I was involved in Minnesota back then when he was governor was the fact that one of the would have been terrorists of 9/11 was from Minnesota, or in Minnesota at the time, Massawi, as you all remember. And he had a license, and he was here illegally at the time. In fact, all of the 9/11 terrorists came in as legal immigrants, adjusted their status. In other words, they didn't keep doing what they said they were doing and why they were here, which makes them fall out of status, and were, in fact, illegal aliens on the time of the attack. But what we found out in Minnesota was through different loopholes, illegal aliens were getting driver's licenses in Minnesota. And this was part of the reason all of these people that were part of 9/11 flew under the radar, is because they had legitimate government ID that had been issued to them. And Minnesota was the first state who went back, rewrote your laws to take illegal aliens out of that equation. And step two, anybody who was here on a visa, their expiration date was then tied to their visa expiration, so that if it expired, they would no longer have a driver's license in the state of Minnesota. It was cutting edge. It was the best thing that was done right away. What happened last year or the year before here in Minnesota? You guys went back, undid that, and gave driver's licenses to illegal aliens in the state of Minnesota. You know what? Nobody reported that in the news. That you guys went full circle since 9/11. You did the right thing, and then you didn't. And why? I mean, technically, Minnesota hasn't passed a law that says you're a sanctuary state. They claim they don't want to be involved in the immigration issue, don't they? And yet, they decidedly changed their own legislation after it had been changed less than 25 years ago to give illegal aliens and then pretend like, oh, we're not involved in this issue. Are you kidding me? They're heavily involved in this issue. Don't let them fool you. And for that reason, they have been dubbed as a sanctuary state. That and other reasons, right? So let's talk about refugee resettlement. You guys have the largest population of Somali refugees in the United States. You know that, right? There's about nationwide 260,000, 107,000 are here. 98,000 are in Ohio. So they've pretty much clustered, this particular group of people from Somalia have clustered in two places. Why did they pick Minnesota? Does anybody know the answer to that? Do you want to know how they got here? I'm sorry? Priests? Is that what you said? Yes, your generosity. So refugee resettlement, people who are settled here, are first of all settled by NGOs, and in your case, it's Lutheran Social Services. They are responsible for the whole state of Minnesota. Do you know that you are number one in the United States for welfare? Why is that? And why is that important to somebody who's a refugee? Because they can go on welfare the minute they get here, forever and ever. Maine was number 2 for many years, and that's why Somalia, that was their first destination. When I started for FAIR, there were more Somalis in Maine than there were in Minnesota. But your guys, your welfare has gone up year after year after year. Do you know what your commitment is to someone who is in poverty now is per year? Number 1 in the country, $47,429 per person. Oh, what? Yeah. Would you not go to Minnesota? You want to know where your money's going? You want to know? It's entitlements, folks. That's what's driving and fueling. That's what was driving. That's what will continue to drive. Right now, the United States brought in anywhere from about 80 to 120,000 refugees every year. That is down to, I think we're at like 1,200 right now under Trump. He stopped it. It needed to stop. It is ridiculous that we are bringing in hundreds of thousands of people from around the world when we still have homeless people on our streets. I have said we need to take the refugee resettlement program and make that the homeless resettlement program. They are already set up. They were funded. They're in place to take these people off the street, to get them trained, to get them cleaned up if they have drug issues, to get them through the medical stuff. All the stuff that we've done for those refugees, we don't even do for their own people who are on the streets of the United States. Okay. So this is one of the issues here, and where, open our eyes, people. Open your eyes in Minnesota and see why you are destination number 1 for anybody in poverty. And if you want to know why your taxes continue to grow, your $47,429 per person through the welfare program of people in poverty, that's what's driving it. That's where it's coming from. That's part of the reason you became so a destination. And at the time, the Somali refugees were coming in. They were the biggest population of people that were coming in. So, and now you can see how that's changed, how this policy has not only changed the United States, we have a Somali American in Congress, don't we? And she espouses American values, doesn't she? So there you go. Our policy, our immigration policy is on display right now in Congress with all these people who have, quote unquote, assimilated and become American and have American values. How about Mandami? He was foreign born. He came here at the age of 7. He did not become a U.S. citizen until 2018. And he is now the mayor, a communist mayor, by the way. You can call him a social Democrat, socialist, whatever you want to call him, but a communist. He's the communist of the largest city in the United States of America. This is where we're headed. And how do these people, this is how they affect change, instead of assimilating back to what it is that they want to do. They get into power and they take control. And guess what? They're citizens. They've been made citizens. They have the right, if the voting in whatever seat they're running for says they can, and they have the populations behind them to accomplish it, don't they? So here we are, and this is what I wanted to talk to you about, because it has affected each one of you, personally. You live in the state of Minnesota, and I would like to have you ask questions, because yes, we had ICE operations here. Yes, your police departments would not cooperate. What happens when your police... So we've got a lot of military people and ex-police officers and first responders. When you have an incident in an area, what is the first thing that the first responders, the police department, or even the military does in that area when they have to go in there? Say that louder. Secure the scene or the perimeter, correct? So what happens when they come to downtown Minnesota or Minneapolis or St. Paul, and they have a bad guy that they're going after? Because let me tell you, there are about 20,000 total ICE employees in the United States. That's total. That's office support and everything. Compare that to New York City's sworn police department that averages anywhere between, say, 50 and 60,000 at any given time. What are the priorities? First of all, I know Tom Homan personally. He's worked with us at FAIR before he went back to work at the administration. His priority was getting the bad guys first. So when they go into a city and they need to get a bad guy, or maybe a number of bad guys that they know are in a particular place together, they have to secure the perimeter. Who normally would do that for them? Well, the local police. But your local police weren't allowed to. So what happened? Well, you had agitators, so in some cases paid agitators, to come down and to disrupt. And so they got in the middle of things, which they shouldn't have gotten into. They had no right being where they were. There should have been a perimeter that was secured by your local police department, and we all know the result of that. Were bad decisions made on both parts? Absolutely. In some cases, the things that happened shouldn't have happened. But the bottom line is, these things didn't happen in the jurisdictions where the local police cooperated. Where did they happen? In the areas where they did not. In California, in Minnesota, and some of the other places where ICE had to go in, high profile, all of this clashing and gnashing of teeth. It took place because of the local policies and the refusal of your elected officials to assist ICE in getting the bad guys. Were these guys that just came across the border and didn't do anything else? Absolutely not. They were mother raper, father stabbers, you call them whatever you want. These were people that were the worst of the worst, and many of them had long, long lists of crimes that they had committed. And it's bad enough that we have to put up with our own homegrown criminals, but why should we have to put up with those who have broken into the United States and hurt our own people? So, Thank you. So what I want to do is open it up for questions. I really want you to ask me about what you've seen or what, any questions that you have and want to know about why that might have happened or whatever it is. They're coming around with microphones. Yes, back here.
She was first.
Okay, sorry.
Okay. I have a question on the refugee resettlement. So when someone gets accepted as a refugee, do they immediately get a citizenship? Do they have to be here for a while? And if they come here and do things like commit crimes, is there any way that we can take that citizenship away?
So yes, and yes. I don't remember what the first one was. First of all, let me tell you, the United States used to have their own refugee resettlement criteria. We decided who was a refugee and who was not. But that was turned over to the UN a number of years ago. And I believe that was under Obama that actually happened. So the UN now has a different set of criteria for refugees than the United States had previously. And one of the things they used is even economic hardship. Well, the United States has always said your life had to be in danger. You had to fear your life for some reason. So that was number one. I wanted to say that. Now, your next part of your question was, so we didn't always determine that these people were refugees. What's the second part?
Do they immediately become citizens, or do they have to
No.
wait for a while, or how does that work?
So they don't ever have to become a citizen. So when they come as a refugee, they're given a green card. They're assisted by the local NGO who brought them here to get a job, to get a place to live. They can, if they want to, become a citizen. They have to go through the process like everyone else who comes here and wants to become a citizen. That's something that usually doesn't take place right away because you're supposed to be proficient in English and, blah, blah, blah. So that normally takes a number of years. Or if your parent gave birth to you, once you were here legally as a refugee, you are instantly a U.S. citizen. So some of the people here now, many of the population of Minnesota are first-generation born Somali U.S. citizens. Now, do you have another part? Does that answer it? I don't remember. Okay, I'm sorry. Yes, back here.
So my question is going to the Somalian population. I just read some things the other day, and I want to make sure I'm correct with this. They were talking about the Somalian population and birth rate, and that Somalian women typically have 6 children, that they don't have like 1 or 2, like a lot of American people here. And also that half of the population, nearly half of the population of Somalians are under the age of 18, which I'm reading all these things about gangs and teen violence and what have you. What are your thoughts on that?
So many of those children who were under 18 were probably born here, maybe U.S. citizens, so they would be Somali Americans at this point. It's not uncommon, by the way, let me just say, for first-generation American-born for those kids to become involved in gangs. It's something that happened for the Vietnamese that were brought in here in California. I can speak to that as a law enforcement in the state of California many years ago, that there was something that happened. And part of it goes back to the culture. And the culture of, I would say, Somalia and Vietnam, the whole idea of the value of life is different than we see it in America. Life was cheap in Vietnam. Life was not valued because it was so hard. And it was, so when we got involved in Somalia, there were 13 warring factions in Somalia. And when we brought the refugees first into Minnesota, because I was working for FAIR when this was happening, one church in Owatonna, for instance, brought in a group of 7 or 10, and another church brought in another group, but they were not from the same place in Somalia, and guess what? They were warring factions. Do you think they quit warring just because they came to the United States? They did not. We have all these expectations that everybody buys into our honor system, that we do the right thing because it's the right thing to do. That's not the culture necessarily of all the people who we bring to the United States. And unfortunately, I think it should have been a consideration when we talk about who we bring in from other parts of the world, that we need to understand the cultural differences may clash with our ideas in the U.S. to begin with. And maybe that's a group of people that might be better settled somewhere else other than here. So, does that answer your question? I'm sorry. Okay, I cannot tell you that I know the numbers of how many children the Somalis family have. But remember, I'm sorry?
Earlier about one person and how much they get in welfare. And then they go on to have
Okay, so we also know in studies across the United States that often people who are on welfare do have future children because it means future income. And if you're paying $47,429 per person, that's a lot of money. And I know of cases of illegal aliens from Mexico who came into Oklahoma, for instance, and gave birth to her first U.S.-born child and got on welfare because the child is a U.S. citizen. It's immediately, eligible for the, at that time, TAMF, Temporary Assistance for Needy Families, welfare for food stamps, for housing at the local, for, just go down the list of things. And this mother in Oklahoma City gave birth to 5 more children. There was never a father in the house, which was amazing, right? I worked with social services in Oklahoma City on this one. And that woman was bringing in, at that time, this is 20 years ago, $55,000 a year via the taxpayers of Oklahoma to pay for those 5 children. So yes, to your answer, it could be part of that equation. We don't know. Yes, sir.
Our government has set up a system where they can hide illegal aliens through the Social Security system. There's 2 ways of hiring people. You can take a fraudulent Social Security card, and as long as it looks good, you can hire them and put them on your payroll, and then you submit those same Social Security numbers with their names to the government because they're pulling Social Security dollars from their paycheck. You can also then, your company can then use a system where they can go in and check that, the number and the name before they hire them. E-Verify, and then help weed those out.
Yes.
Okay, so they put that back on the company. Okay, so the government has all the Social Security numbers for all these people, and I come back and say, we don't know how many people. Well, as far as I know, to work in here, you have to have a Social Security number. So that means our government knows all of the numbers, all of the names. They can go and say which ones are fraudulent and which ones are not, because the companies can do that. So then why aren't we using that? Why don't we know how many legal people are in there?
Well, in some cases they are, and they have. In fact, there were a number of raids against SWIFT a number of years ago, and the reason was they were using E-Verify. And suddenly...
Why isn't our government doing that? Why can't we just go right to our database that we have and do that? Why are we not, as a country, doing that?
So first of all, some employers allow ITIN numbers, and that is supposed to be for foreign investors, but they allow an ITIN. You're not supposed to work under an ITM. But that happens, and the IRS is so far behind that it might be 2 or 3 years before they get a letter from the IRS saying that person cannot work under that ITN, or that person is working for you under that Social Security number is not the right person.
So we purposely have a system that's broken that can't keep up with the needs of the American people.
One of the best things you could do here in Minnesota, let's talk about locally, what can you do? Get the state to pass a mandatory E-Verify law that says anyone working in the state of Minnesota needs to put their employees through E-Verify. It is the exact same system that the federal government uses for anybody who applies for food stamps. That is called it's the exact same system. They match the name against the Social Security
Plus now,
number.
you've been working in this area for 24 years, and you're asking us to lead a charge. Isn't your group leading this charge to put it in front of us to get that?
So I can tell you that I've spent a number of times up here when people ask me what should we be doing, this is what you should get behind. This is the kind of legislation with these people that are running for office here in Minnesota for state house, because this is a state law. It could even be a city law. So there are cities in the United States who have passed the law that anybody who has a business license must have an E-Verify, must apply with E-Verify, or employers after over a certain of 10 people or whatever. So let me just tell you, we are a nonprofit organization with about 30 employees nationwide. And yes, I am an expert on immigration and would be happy to help you as I have continued to work up here. But we can't make the state of Minnesota do this. This is something that has to be done at the state or local level, and it's going to take people within the state of Minnesota to make that happen, not a force from Washington, D.C. Yes, ma'am.
I live in South Minneapolis, so my neighbors are Somalis. I've been in many Somali homes. It is a minefield. It is really something. Anyhow, that's not my question. My question is about the TPS status.
Yes.
Okay, you read about it just recently. The Haitians, 20,000 of them were supposed to be returned home.
Yes.
Are people actually returned to their countries? Because Trump has really made it a part of the immigration policy for people not to be here illegally. And all those people are here illegally if they came under the TPS status.
No, they're not here illegally if they came under TPS. TPS stands for
but if he
temporary.
If he says, okay, that
ends,
then has expired, well, then shouldn't they leave?
Okay, so all of this has been tied up legally with the TPS. You've seen now that. So let me explain to people who don't know. TPS is temporary protected status. We granted it to Haitians because of the earthquake. We granted it to Somalians because of the unrest and the warring that was going on in there. Okay, those times have passed. We have Somalians now leaving Minnesota and going and visiting and coming back. It's no longer that dangerous place anymore. Should TPS end? Absolutely. Does the president have the right to do that? He does. That's in his purview. You're going to see, in fact, they're predicting that TPS for Somalians, those people who were brought here under TPS and did not come as a refugee, they only came under TPS, they can be deported.
Are they being deported? That's my question.
So you have to understand, it's been tied up in the courts, and we're still waiting. They just reversed TPS, so the Haitians will have to go home who are here under TPS. And the other, what was the other one? It was.
But are they going? Are any of these people going?
They will be forced to go home.
They will be forced.
Yes. Now, does that mean that they might not try to hide? They may try to hide. We don't know that. We don't know that yet. TPS for Somalis has not. It was tied up in the courts, and they are fully expecting that by the end of August, that TPS for Somalis will be ended. But you have to understand that does not apply to the refugees. Okay, that's a different category. All right. So,
how can we get information on that?
What information do you want? If TPS has been ended, it will be in the newspaper, I promise you. I just followed up with it this morning to see where it is. They're expecting it to be over by August. It was held up by a lower court, and now it's back in the lower court. And the president hasn't done anything he didn't have the legal right to do. It's just the way he did it was improper, and now it's probably going to be upheld.
Is it court in Washington, D.C.?
No, the lower court, I think right now is in Massachusetts. Yes, ma'am. Back there.
Check. So when I heard back in between 2020 and 2024 where Biden was flying people here from Europe or wherever they were going, are some of these airlines involved with that type of a flight where their passenger list has all these people on there that are not citizens of the United States and they're just arriving here?
Yes.
And the second part of my question, first part was, are the airlines liable in any way? And then the second part of my question is, most of these people that come here and get a driver's license, if they come from a country where a birthday is not an important date, they don't know what their birth date is.
Yes.
And they all are given a birth date of January 1st, and that would identify them.
Yes.
Is that a way that they're using to identify some of these people when ICE goes after them?
No, not necessarily. If they were criminals, is that a reason that ICE is going after? So let me just say that ICE is not going after and has not had the time to go after the general population that's here illegally. Okay, they have only tried to make a dent in the criminal illegal aliens who are here, and they still have not gotten all of them. You made another important point. What was your first question? No, let's go back to that. Okay, so were airlines being used? Yes, we understand that some were being contracted. They were also flying them. We have been told in a variety of other airplanes. DHS has airplanes and so on. They were arriving into the United States. I can personally attest. I was on a flight out of McAllen, Texas. I was one of the first people on the plane because I happened to have been upgraded to first class. I got on the plane, and there was a man already on the plane back in comfort class. And I recognized him as being an illegal alien because he had all of the documents in hand. And I'm thinking, how did he get on this plane before me? Then before the end of the boarding was over, this woman came on, and she went to the seat where he was sitting and said, "You have my seat." And all he did was hold up his papers because he couldn't respond to her. And the flight attendant came over, and they both had been issued a ticket for the same seat. And nobody knew how that happened, but guess who stayed? He did. He did. Which meant not only was he put on the plane via the tarmac by DHS, not through the boarding system. That man was not in line with the rest of us. But secondly, he was issued a ticket, and the airlines didn't have him in their system because they issued a second ticket to another person. So I took this all to our attorneys in Washington, D.C. I'm not sure they ever got to the bottom of it, but I can tell you, having spent a lot of time in McAllen, Texas, where these more than 1,000 people a day were being processed out of Catholic Charities down there. There were hundreds of them in the airport, some of them with ankle bracelets on because they were known criminals that were turned loose, allowed to get on a flight with their flashing monitoring system with the rest of us. So it was something I don't ever want to see happen to the country again. And there's nothing stopping it, folks. If you have one important role as defenders of the country, it's to get out and to educate other people about how bad it was. And I will give you my contact information. I'm happy to help any way that I can. But we have to let people get educated on this issue, that it was a nothing short of a free-for-all under the Biden administration for anybody and everybody to come. So, yes.
Al Muirhoff, I just have a question regarding the people that can come in legally. I understand there's quotas from different countries, but I wonder, are the refugees aside from the quotas? In other words, they have a free pass if so permitted.
So when you say quotas, I want you to think in reverse of quotas. When they say quotas, it means we will only allow so many from this country and so many from this country. We don't go out and seek those people. But once we've hit that quota, then we turn away others. Refugees, again, under the Trump administration, that's almost all but stopped. There's only a few. I'm sure that the refugee groups, the NGOs, especially here in this state, I'm not sure what they're all doing for work these days because there's not enough to keep them busy, so they've probably moved on to something else. However, we saw that when we went from Obama to Trump 1, his first administration, that they all went away, but they quickly came back, didn't they? So there's no guarantee that with the next president that they won't crank up refugee resettlement again. Did that answer your questions?
So I guess if I wanted to add to that question, the people that were just voluntarily went back to their country, what's their chances of actually getting back here because of the...
Okay, the question is, the people who voluntarily went back, who were here illegally, what are their chances of coming back? Their chances are better if they come illegally again. Because if you've been in the United States up to a year and you're here illegally, you cannot, when you go back to your country, you cannot even apply to come back for 3 years. If you were found in this country and you left, and you'd been here over a year, you have to go back to your country, and it takes 10 years before you can apply to come back legally. So you can see why they hide and they don't want to go home. So again, if we had another Biden in office, their chances of getting through, they just need to come through and not try to do it legally. You see how this is all encouraged and, more and more people to come. Yes, sir, you have a question? No. The problem is they're streaming, and the people at home need to hear your question. Oh, you need me to cut it off? Okay. All right. You can ask me afterwards. I'll stick around and be happy to answer your question. Thank you very much. I appreciate the opportunity to be here.
Thank you, Susan. That's great. Okay, thank you. We're at 2 cents for 2 minutes. Time for anyone in the audience to make a relevant announcement or promotion of some sort. We ask you that you do this, just raise your hand and wait for the microphone. Our online people can't hear you if you don't have the microphone. So.
This is Tom Spitznagel from the Republican Seniors Board. One of our previous board members passed a basket around for donations, and I would like to thank all of you who donated. We collected $286 in just a few minutes, and that makes a big difference because we've got a lot of people serving as election judges today who weren't able to come and pay their meeting dues, so that helped us make up the difference. So thank you very, very much.
If you have not voted yet, something that you may not be aware of, it's on the back of the ballot, that is the Attorney General for Hennepin County. If you've ever heard of Mary Moriarty, she's the current county attorney who is a complete disgrace to everybody. There is a woman named Diane Krentz. I've got information on her back here. She has spoken here. She needs to be one of 2 people to get through the primary. The other 4 are Democrats. She is an independent. We need to get her over the edge because only 2 will go on to the general. So grab a card before you go. Tell all your friends. Diane Krentz, she's been in the Hennepin County Attorney's Office for almost 40 years. She left last year to run for office. We need her. We don't need any of the other four.
Thank you. Any others?
Hello? Me? You want me to go? Me? Okay. Hi, my name's Nicole Canson. I'm with American Majority. I just wanted to give a couple quick updates. We are going to be hosting some free community events. I have some little flyers up on the counter. The first one is there's some free movie screenings for the documentary The Thread of Liberty, which was created by our founder. It is free on YouTube, but it's nice to come into community with other conservatives and just have some discussion and conversation. On the second flyer, there is some trainings on Minnesota voter registration, absentee ballot boot camp, which goes deep into the laws, the details, timelines, and some fun rabbit holes that I discovered when making the presentation. I've got some good feedback from candidates who have come that they're like, oh, wow, I didn't know all this. This is some things that I want to change if I were to get in office. Also, we are looking to hire some more door knockers for CD2. We have about 13, 14 already on staff, but we're looking to grow to 30. $25 an hour. Once we hit September 1st, it goes up to $30 an hour, and October 1st goes up to $35 an hour. So if you know anyone looking for some part-time temporary work, it'd be great to earn some extra holiday cash. All right, thanks so much. What? CD2, so let's see, it goes from like South St. Paul down to Burnsville, Savage, Prior Lake, and then some more south as well. Mm-hmm.
Okay, that's it. Thank you. Now we have our prize drawing.
What if I pick my own?
Okay. Okay. The last four numbers are 2, 6, 2, 9. 2, 6, 2, 9 are the last four numbers. Let's try another one. Two, 5, 7, 8. Okay. Yep. Okay, we got one more. Oh, go ahead. Thank you. Two, 6, 0, 0. Two, 6, 0, 0. Right, so some people must be. Yeah, good. One more.
I'm trying to get my own. Take one.
2, 6, 9, 2. Two, 5, 4, 1. Got it? Yeah. Okay, good. Fine. Right. I'll give you right at the end of the meeting. Don't forget to tell your friends about Republican seniors and bring them out to a meeting. till the next time, and next time we're meeting at the Heritage Center. Keep cool, and see you on September 8th. We're planning a program on finances, especially the state finances, with fraud and everything else. So God bless you all. Drive carefully going home. Trust Trump, and pray for the military. God bless you all.
Republican Seniors of Minnesota. For more information, please visit republicanseniorsmn.com. While visiting our website, you can click on the video tab to watch videos of past meetings. Also, look for other tabs that bring you to our live player and other video programs. Or, on YouTube, search for Republican Seniors of Minnesota